Hey everybody, thanks for being here. My name is Alice. Do I have a slide with my name on it? I think I do. No, I don't. That's it. That's my one. I'm Alice. I pay taxes in Kansas. So I grew up all on the West Coast, and I accidentally moved to Kansas in 2020. So there's lots of things I like about Kansas, and one of these days I'm going to be willing to say that I'm from Kansas. But I did fly in from Kansas the other day, and I'm a high school math teacher. I've also taught college in the teacher credential program, and I am a Google developer expert for Google Workspace. And there are currently 3 women who have that title. For a while I was the only one, but now I get to share it with 2 other amazing ladies. And so I'm going to share with you today a little bit about what that means that I do. I'm a hobby coder, to be honest. I taught myself. I don't know Python. I could read through some Python code because I know JavaScript. And I'm not even that good at JavaScript. But I'm good enough to be dangerous. And now, elevating up what we can do with Google Workspace, we can throw in the Gemini capabilities into that. So I'm going to share that with you today. And because I am a teacher, I've got the whole theme themed for cooking. I am an amazing cook, so if anyone wants to know how to make carnitas in the Instant Pot, make sure you hit me up afterwards. Lots of garlic. If you would please go to alicekeeler.com/DevFest'25. This is a Google form. And you'll notice that it has in the form a link to the website of resources. So I would love for you to bookmark that website. Does anybody know Spanish? ¿Alguien un poco? Por favor, escribe en español. Yeah, right. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Puedo ir al baño. I don't know. Just for funsies. So you're filling out a Google form for me. Everybody's doing it. You can just say hi if you want. What do you wish you could do with Google Workspace? So what is Google Workspace? That's Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, things like that. Google Calendar, Google Tasks. I know we have all run up against, oh my gosh, why won't it just? Where are these people at Google? What are they doing? You can do it over in Microsoft. Why can't I do this? Or maybe I can't do it in Microsoft, but it feels so obvious. Why can't I just get these things to work together? So what is a pain point you have felt when you're using a Google product? Let's see how this goes. You can fill this out more than once. You can fill it out in Spanish, because I'm going to demonstrate something. So if anyone would fill out once in Spanish, in saying anything, that would be awesome. Who uses Google Keep? One person? Ooh, okay, I love Google Keep, right? It's keep.google.com. That's pretty much Google's MO. Everything is .google.com. Maps.google.com. Drive.google.com, keep.google.com. You can actually go to docs.google.com, and that'll get you your Google Drive filtered for Google Docs, and and then there's YouTube. It breaks the pattern. But Google Keep is a note-taking, Post-it notes. So one thing I always recommend is when you go to an event, keep.new will start a new Google Keep note. Or if you're on your phone, you can install the Google Keep app. I'm sure you have a note-taking app. But is it googly? I mean, what do you love about using Google tools is they're collaborative. You have access to them on any device. It syncs across all of your devices. So one of the things I recommend is that you pick a color when you go to an event. Pick a color. And so whenever a presenter gives out a website with a resource or some notes that you took at a session, make it in a Google Keep note and use the particular color, because Google's really good at search. And you can search by color. So I make all my passwords one color. I make all of my notes from an event a different color. My to-do items that I want to do, I make a different color so that I can search by color. You can also add hashtags and search by hashtag, but I really like looking at my grid of notes color-coded. So just a fun tip. If you would like to try to use Google Keep, why don't you throw alicekeeler.com/DevFest25 into a note or whatever resource that you use. So if I go to keep.google.com, oh, no internet. Well, that's great. I was using internet before. Okay. You will stay on the internet. Here it goes. Okay, so come on, let's do it. So you can see some of my notes have a background color. Sort of, it's loading very slow. Come on. So when you come up to search, though, the search options, one of them is you can search by color. So I just choose the color that I want to search by. Yeah. I know only one person in this room raised their hand, but I'm telling you, Google Keep's your new favorite thing. It does a lot of cool things. You cannot code Google Keep, which is what I'm showing you today, is how you can code Google Workspace. So you're like, what the heck, Alice? I know, what the heck? I need to find somebody in the Google Keep team. I'm like, AppScript, you guys, AppScript. Okay. So I'm Alice Keeler. I did have a slide with my name on it. If we go to alicekeeler.com/coded by Alice, this is a lot of the applications that I have created. I've actually created hundreds. Most of them are informal, and I don't formally publish them. Rumor is I have the most add-ons of anybody in the world. So I have 37. And so what are these? These are things that you can add to your Google Docs, your Google Sheets, your Google Slides, your Google Classroom, your Google Tasks, your Google Calendar, your Gmail. I don't know, I'm missing some of these. To add extra functionality. You might have installed an add-on for, say, maybe doing mail merge. That's a very popular one if you want to do mail merge. They have recently built mail merge in natively into Gmail, but there's a lot of janky layers to it. So I would still use AutoCRAD or something that does the mail merge for me. Now I'm a teacher, so all of these are solutions for teachers to try and reduce those pain points, those paper cuts, because we all of a sudden need to be able to make a pixel art Minecraft creeper, right? It's a need, not a want. No, come on guys, laugh with me. I'm funny. No, but seriously, what this allows me to do is I can insert any spreadsheet that I'm in, Google Sheets, and I can just insert a sheet that's automatically formatted for me to make some pixel art. So it can look like I'm working, but really I'm drawing pictures. And so as a teacher, you can see how kids would really enjoy doing that. If you're a teacher and you sign up for Google Classroom, it makes a calendar every time you have a classroom. So you might want to delete a whole bunch of them at once. So this is going to mass delete your calendars. If you've ever tried to delete a calendar, it's a lot of clicks. And go ahead and explain to somebody who doesn't know their password how to find it. You're like, you know what? Just run this script, run this code. This one's my most popular one. I think I have 32 million installs on it. Let's look. Yeah, I have 32 million installs. This is the first thing my first add-on I ever made. I would rather hit myself in the head with a brick than open up 30 Google Docs, as a teacher. As a high school teacher, you really have 150 to 200. My husband, he teaches English, and he had all the kids write a paragraph in a Google Doc, and I'm like, sucker, you gotta wait for all those to load, and then you gotta close them all. That sounds terrible. Can't we all just be in the same spreadsheet? Shouldn't we collaborate? Because collaboration sounds awesome. So what I have is where I put my student's name in the first sheet of my spreadsheet, and then on the second sheet, I've got for lack of a better word, my worksheet, whatever I want the kids to fill out. And then I want to run a Xerox where it copies that worksheet for every kid on my list and puts their name on the tab, but we're all in the same spreadsheet. So that's what this does. Now, this one, template tab. Now you're like, I don't teach, Alice, I don't need that. But if you ever have to do mileage reimbursement forms, You put instead of kids' names, you put January, February, March, April, May, and you make one for each month so you can fill out your reimbursement. So it's pretty helpful. If you've ever had to make a lot of sheets, you'll be like, yeah, that is a time saver. This one takes whatever your text is in your Google Doc and turns it into Google Slides. Ooh, this one's a good one. Form printer. Who's tried to print a Google form? It's not pretty. Wastes a lot of paper, and you have no control over the formatting, right? And if you have somebody who's started a quiz, or they need to redo it, or finish on paper for whatever reason, good luck. I mean, you can print it out, but again, no control over how it looks, and it still says things like click here. Like, well, it's on paper now. Yeah, right, put it in a PDF, but it's not great. So what this does, Form Printer allows you to print to a Google Doc. Print, right? It takes all the Google form, puts it into a Google Doc, and then you can reformat it, right? Put it in 2 columns. How many lines do you need for your answer? Because you have no control over that when you just print from Google Forms. Do you want 1 line? You want 10 lines? How much space do you want in the line? Because if you're teaching 3rd grade, you need a lot of space. And you want to have more control over what you're doing, so if you just send it to a Google Doc, now you have ultimate control, print it out, do what you want with it. Also with the student responses, or students, I'm going to give all teacher examples. Sorry, you've all been students. You understand what I'm talking about. When people fill out the form and you want to give them what they responded with, or maybe they want to update it, you want to print it out for some reason, it's easier to do it with Form Printer, where again, it goes to the Google Doc and you can control what it looks like when you print, so you don't have to have so many pages. Okay, so anyway, I got a bunch of those. You can check them out if you are interested. So that is alicekeeler.com/coded by Alice. If you Google search Queen of Spreadsheets, I am the first result. So you'll be able to find my name very easily. If you search Alice Keeler in the Google Marketplace, it comes right up. Okay, fun times. So what are we doing today? We're going to mix together Google apps. So it's cool to use Google Docs. It's cool to use Google Sheets. It's cool to use Google Slides. But you'll see what I did with some of those apps that were in my published apps. Like I had a Google Doc, and I sent those results to Google Slides, right? And I want to mix them together. I don't know about you, but email threads are the death of me. Like, okay, you replied back to me, cool, but now we're like back and forth 20 times, and you've replied again in the same thread with a completely different subject, but didn't change the subject line. Just so you know, if you do that to me, I don't like you. And then I just missed the email. Like, I didn't realize that you just randomly replied to some old thread, because to me, that thread is dead. So I have some app script code that I wrote that scans my email for threads, not just emails, but threads. So multiple conversations where a new conversation or a response was added to a thread yesterday. So then it's going to it's going to create a Google Doc listing the subject line, the link to the email, so I can just really quickly every day scan if there's any new threads that I really need to pay attention to. So I can mix those together. So one of the things I did is I just had you fill out a Google form, and I'm going to show you what we did with that. Slideshow. If you're in presentation view and you update your slides, your slides don't change until you exit and come back in. So you have to refresh there. So what do you wish you could do with Google Workspace? Whoops, did it not work? Ah! Where did they go? Okay. I added some slides and then I didn't update the location. It's fine. I got it. I see now. Upload media and build out basic videos. Oh, April, you can totally do that. You can totally do this. Who's heard of Google Vids? Go to vids.google.com. That's a new Google product that they've just come in. If you have the Gemini upgrade, then oh my gosh, you want the Gemini upgrade. If you're going to use Google Vids, I actually just attach a Google Doc to my prompt for Google Vids, which makes videos, and it creates all of the slides, and it is freaking magic. It will have an AI voice that doesn't sound very AI-y, like the whole thing, it puts in video B-roll and creates all the slides. It creates the transcript that the AI voice is reading, but if you wanted to do it yourself, narrate it yourself without the AI voice, it has a teleprompter in there, like, your life is now changed. Please use Google Vids. Okay, so problem solved, April, problem solved. You're welcome. AI Google Slides, practice presentation, and get tips. I love this. Now, Microsoft has something like this, right? Speaking Coach or something Coach. But it's not natively built into Google Slides. This is something that you could build, pairing up Google Gemini API with your Google Slides to review your slides. Now, on some level, you don't really need to do that because, you know, if you have Gemini in your sidebar, it's going to help you out with a lot of things, such as give me tips on this slide. Let's see. Please work, please work, please work. Okay, so it's reading you want tips, so it's giving you tips on how to give tips. That's awesome. Give me design tips for this slide. You know, the magic to using Gemini is, of course, using really good words to describe what you want with a high degree of specificity. Okay, so here's some design tips. The title slide and the body content seem to repeat. So in one sense, I could just use this to the built-in features, and I don't have to do anything. I don't think that's particularly great. What you really want to do is record yourself doing the presentation. Google Vids will do that. So Google Vids is going to allow you to record you doing a talk over your slides. And so then you can take that video, download that video, and either upload that just into gemini.google.com, or if you really want to get sexy, use Vertex AI and have it analyze and give you tips based on the video that you're uploading from Google Vids. So the answer is yes. It's not natively built in, but that is something that you could absolutely do. I wish I could have Colab print notebooks properly. Rashaba, that's not Workspace. Yeah, Colab, as far as I know, Colab doesn't work with AppScript. Google Tasks does not, Tasks does. Google Keep does not work with Workspace, with AppScript rather. So there are a few tools that you cannot code, which is always frustrating. I'm like, I want to code it all! So I can't solve your problem there, sorry. I want to connect my Google Workspace with other applications. George, you were in the right place. That's what we're doing today. That was a Spanish one. Perfecto. Yo quiero conecto uso mi Google Workspace con otras aplicaciones. And you notice that it automatically translated it for me. So I'm going to go to Bolivia in 2 weeks. And I'm going to do this talk in Spanish. My Spanish es muy mediocre. And you know what's great about Bolivia? It doesn't matter how bad your Spanish is. Everyone will be like, oh, Alice, your Spanish is so good. Liars. But they encouraged me to come back. So they invited me back. Couldn't have been that bad. But what I do is I let them ask me questions using this Google form. And while, you know, my Spanish is not great, see. If it's translated to English, because I'm live on stage in front of 200 people, okay, I see it, but I do respond in Spanish, but it allows me to make these connections with a whole room of people that not only do I not know, but, you know, I'm not natively with their language. So this is something that you're able to do with Google Apps Script. Is I create a Google form, and I connect it to Google Translate, which connects to Google Slides and helps you build out an interactive presentation. Easily moving around images on Google Docs, the current way of doing is very finicky. Okay, you can code images in Google Docs. You don't want to. Google Docs is not a canvas. So I have a secret for you all. You ready for this? It's going to be a mic drop. It's going to be a mic drop. So ready to take notes? Write down, ready? Google Slides 8.5 by 11. You just go to the File menu, Page Setup, Custom. You can choose your units, inches, 8.5 by 11. Boom! It's like a Google Doc. But now you can organize it however you want because it's a free-ranging canvas. Google Docs has improved how you add images into Google Docs and how you layer them up. But no matter what way you put it, you know, you've got these fixed rows, and how images line up with text is awkward. I'll give you another tip. Use a table. Let me show you. Docs.new. Anyone use .new, like docs.new, sheets.new, slides.new, keep.new? Now you will. Of course, it's now free floating around in my Google Drive, but whatever. Okay, so I've got my text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a table. Actually, I never do it that way anymore. I go at table, and I'm going to do a 2 by 2 table. I'm going to set it so that it's all like centered horizontally and vertically. Where's the vertical centering? Okay, wait. I usually use sheets, table options, cell, vertical alignment in the middle. Okay, right now I'm just going to figure out whatever image is randomly on my computer and just drag a couple of those into there. Now what's cool about using a table in Google Docs is you notice the image automatically resized to fit the space, right? So then I want to explain how this works. Blah, 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 blah. And then what I did, remember, is get rid of that. I right-clicked on the table. I went to Table Options, and I am going to have the cell color have a table border of 0. And I have a lot more control over how those images land in my Google Doc, no code required. Could I code that? Yes. Do you want to? Probably not. In order to manage the widths and get really fine-tuning on tables in Google Docs when you code them, you have to use the Docs API, the Document App API, which is fine. It's just more robust, and you got to go make a cloud project, and you got to connect your cloud project up in there, and it's just more difficult. You're probably better off just inserting the table and right-clicking, but I hope that helps. I'm here for the tips. Did you know that you can just get a QR code from your Chrome browser? I showed that yesterday. Someone was blown away. Okay. Easily convert Excel into Docs. Okay, you did mean Docs, not DOS, because I mean DOS is a thing. Who here loaded DOS? Right? You got all your floppy disks, and then you go make a sandwich. Come back when it's loaded. Just, you know, 3 of us, we're all older than dirt. You know, you had records that you put in the back of your picture books, that you take the record out and it would make a ding, so you need to flip the page, right? None of you experienced that. Okay, just me. I'm going to do this one for you. Online class studying. Oh my gosh, Ben, I have 1,000 recommendations about this because most online classes were really sucky, and that's a kind word. HV, come to my session later today. I'm going to kind of skip past that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Come back here with my slides. So what we're going to use is we're going to use Google Apps Script. This is my KitchenAid mixer. By the way, I just bought one for only $50 at Aldi. They have a knockoff, and it's pretty good. So if you're looking for a much cheaper mixer, Aldi. I belong to the Aldi cult. Do you have Aldi over here? Yeah? Okay, all right. And the key is the extensions menu, or you can use script.google.com. So this is where you're going to add code to your Google Docs, your Google Sheets, your Google Slides, whatever, is you're going to go into the extensions menu, and you're going to put your code in there. And those are bounded scripts, or you can have an unbounded script at script.google.com. And this is the magic sauce that I need you to write down on a Google Keep note. This is how you're going to be successful. This is the price of admission, is worth the price of admission for this slide. Okay. You're going to go to Gemini.google.com. Gemini.google.com, and you're going to say, using Google Apps Script. Because I don't want Python, I don't want React, I want Google Apps Script. That's what we're doing here. If you want to code Google Workspace, you can do it in Python, you can make a cloud project, you can get crazy, you can. I never do that. I just stick with this language, AppScript, which is based on JavaScript. It is helpful to at least know some JavaScript or at least some programming because your prompts will be better. But these days with Gemini, it really does a really good job of just kind of popping it out where it works the first time. So using Google Apps Script, and in the current Google Sheets or Google Doc or Google Slides or whatever it is that you're coding, you want to tell you want it in the current one. I learned this the hard way. I'm like, make slides. Didn't work. Run it again. Run it again. Run it again. Run it again. I'm like, why isn't this working? The code looks good. The code looks good. Oh, it made them. So I go over to Google Drive, and I have all these Google Slides in my Google Drive. And I wanted it to act on the slides I was using. I'm like, why isn't it doing anything? So what we're going to do is we're going to add some code to the document you're using. So this is a quick way to prototype, rapid prototyping. Even if you're thinking like, Alice, I'm not going to do this in AppScript. I do much sexier things using Python. That's fine. It just takes longer. So if you want like a proof of concept, just kind of spin up something really quickly, AppScript is the way to start. It's a good place to start. So we're going to do it, AppScript, current sheets. Okay, let's do this. And so the request was, how do I get my spreadsheet into a Google Doc, right? Okay. So I'm going to do sheets.google.com just so I can find a spreadsheet that I already have. Let's go. Sheets.google.com, docs.google.com, slides.google.com is Google Drive, actually, but just filtered for that particular product. I'll do this one. Okay. Whatever. There's some data on this sheet. Who cares? All right, so then I'm going to go to Gemini.google.com, and I'm going to say, using Google Apps Script in the current Google Sheets spreadsheet. This is the magic sauce right here. Take the data in column A and make each, in the current Google Sheets spreadsheet, create a Google Doc where we take the data in column A and make each value a paragraph in the spreadsheet, separate each paragraph with a pumpkin emoji, give me a pop-up with the confirmation of the Google Doc and the URL. Okay, so I'm just in Gemini.google.com. I'm using my words as specifically as I can for it to do what I want it to do, vibe coding. I feel overly confident that this is just going to work. Okay, here we go. So it gave me the code. Awesome. Okay, when it's done. Okay. Share, copy the contents. All right, so I'm using Google Gemini to give me the recipe, right? I've got the code. You see this here where it gives me only current doc? I hate that. I usually omit it. Now, it is good practice when you're coding to use as limited scopes as possible. And only current doc totally does that, gives me a limited scope. but it's my own personal project, and I'm just doing it for myself, and I'm not publishing it. I want all the scopes. I just like, why not get crazy? I'm going to use Google Drive. If you got to publish Google Drive, good luck to you. There's like a whole nasty process that might cost you thousands of dollars that you have to go through. But if you're using it for your personal use, go wild. So now I'm back in my spreadsheet, and I'm looking here at the extensions menu and app script. So this is where you put it. So this is a bounded script. I'm stapling code to my Workspace document. Now this works in doc sheets and slides. If you want to do it in forms, it's a 3 dots menu, and it says app script in the 3 dots menu. So docs, sheets, slides, and forms makes it really easy for you to do a bounded script. The rest of them you have to do in a standalone script and connect them. So I'm going to go to app script. And I'm just going to paste it, save it, run it. It's always going to ask you to authenticate it because it's like, hey, Google didn't review this. No kidding. I just wrote the code 2 seconds ago. Okay, here we go. And this, there, and there. Okay, so I've authenticated it. It's running. Should show, here we go. Do you see it now has its own menu that it created for my Google Doc or my Google spreadsheet? And I'm going to create a document from column A. It's running. There it is. It did it. Oh, I have to, what? I authorized it. All right. Let's try it again. Run. Do I already have code on this? Is that my problem? Overview, container. Okay, it's doing documents.current only. Oh, see, that's what I was telling you. Get rid of this sucker. It messes things up. You don't need it. I'm going to do it again. That's why it was mad. It said, you're not using Google Docs. Why are you saying only the current doc? I don't know why it does that, but it does it all the time, so I just deleted it. I'm glad I could show you what a pain in the ass that was. You don't want it. Oh, now I have to reauthorize. Of course, of course. Come on. Yes! Oh, that's so pretty. Ta-da! See, I told you I was overly confident it would just work. So anytime you're thinking, like, how can I just mix together Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Classroom, Google Tasks, Google Calendar, whatever, Gmail, you totally can. Just ask Gemini. App. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I use that all the time. I make all my own personal projects. I'm willing to do something about once, twice, maybe 3 times. If I have to do this a 4th time, screw that. I'm making myself an add-on. But let's spice it up. I'm like, that's nice, but I want it to do something more interesting. Like if I have all of my bank transactions in a spreadsheet, I'd like Gemini to automatically identify what categories they go with, like this is gas, this is fast food. I don't want to do that manually. And so I can bring in Google Gemini to answer those questions about my information. So how do I do that? Okay, those were in the wrong place. There we go. I'm going to add in the food warmer. So you do need a Google Cloud account. You need a Google Cloud account. So you go to cloud.google.com. If you don't already have one, I learned this the hard way yesterday. I obviously have a Google Cloud account that I made like a long time ago, and I just don't think about the fact that if you're new to this, you haven't set it up. So if you've never set it up, it's free. They give you a very generous free tier that you can. Honestly, for the most part, you will not outrun the free tier, depending on what you're doing. Don't use 2.5 Pro as your model, because that will, that's expensive. Stick to the light, the flash. It'll be great for your model, but you do need to have an account, right? So you're going to go to cloud.google.com, you're going to make an account, and then you need the Gemini API key. Now, the easiest way to get the API key is just bop over to AI Studio, and it has a button on there. What happened to my clicker? Da-da. It has a button on there. Come on. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, it's over here. Get the API key. That is the fastest way to do it. It automatically will either make you a cloud project or you can connect to a cloud project you already have. And if it's just like little piddly things that you're making for yourself, just reuse the same one over and over again, which is what I do. It's like, it's not a real project, it's just Alice doing dumb stuff, so I can link that up in there. So I click to get the API key, and once I copy that API key, I'm going to go back to the extensions menu. I'm going to go back to AppScript. Am I out of time? 2 minutes, okay. And the last icon and all the way at the bottom, I would recommend that you just paste that API key into the script properties. You just paste the API key into the script properties, and now prompt Gemini using the Gemini API. So same thing I just showed you, same thing we just did, except instead of just saying using Google Apps Script in the current Google Sheets, use the Gemini API to blah, 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 blah. Right? So I'm going to describe what I want the app script to do, and then I'm going to describe what AI features that I want, and I'm going to tell it that I want it to use the Gemini API, and it's just going to crank out that code. It will not work. I don't know, it will work. It will work, but for some reason, this URL, which I have for you at alicekeeler.com/devfest25, this URL, Gemini just loves to mess it up. They want to give you an old one that doesn't work. So if you will just copy this, keep it on a Google Keep note, and when you're prompting it, you're like, use this link. Throw in a little sample code of an app that already works with Gemini, and then the output will work a lot better, that it's just going to work. It just gets a little like jealous that you want to switch from the Gemini app to using the Gemini API. So it makes you work for it. Yes, sir?
I'm following most of the stuff, but do you have this recorded somewhere in case you have to go back and revise some of the tips that you are giving?
How do you revise the tips?
Anything that you're saying right now, in case if I have to go back.
Okay, I have all the slides at alicekeeler.com/devfest25. Yeah. So it's actually the Google form is what that is, and then I have a link on there that says go to the website of resources. So I have on there a full script that works with the Gemini API, and so just copy and paste some of those samples. First, just tell it, hey, do it. Write it for me with the Gemini API. If it's being jealous and it doesn't quite work, go grab my code sample, just the parts that's calling up Gemini. Throw that into your prompt, like, use this. And then it will argue with you and be like, no, you don't want to use that. I'm like, I really do. And then it's going to work, okay? It's going to work. It's really literally this easy. The hardest part is going over to AI Studio and grabbing that API key. And then now you're like getting Gemini doing all kinds of cool things for you just like you wanted. Okay, so I'm out of time. Thank you.